Chosen one, there are moments in life when you begin to realize that not every delay was natural, not every obstacle was random, and not every closed door came from God. Some battles entered your path because someone secretly feared what would happen if you finally stepped into your divine breakthrough. The moment heaven placed greatness over your life, the atmosphere around you shifted. Certain people began acting strange. Some became distant. Some smiled in your face while silently hoping your prayers would never manifest. And among them was Jay. This person recognized something powerful about your destiny long before you fully understood it yourself. They sensed the favor covering your life, and it troubled their spirit deeply. Chosen one, Jay tried to delay what God already approved. They thought confusion could stop you. They thought emotional warfare could drain you. They believed if they created enough disappointment around you, eventually your faith would weaken and your vision would collapse. But what they failed to understand is that when God ordains a breakthrough for his chosen vessel, no human hand can permanently block it. Delay is not denial. Silence is not abandonment. Isolation is not failure. The very season that looked empty was actually heaven preparing you for acceleration. Jay underestimated your spiritual resilience because they only studied your human side. They saw your tears, but not your prayers. They saw your exhaustion, but not your endurance. They watched you struggle, but never understood the oil God placed on your life. That oil is what kept you standing when everything around you attempted to break you. Many nights you questioned yourself. Many mornings you woke up carrying emotional heaviness you could not explain. There were moments when you almost gave up, because every step forward seemed to come with another obstacle. Yet somehow, despite the attacks, despite the betrayal, despite the delays, you kept moving. That is how you know God was with you the entire time. Chosen one, people like Jay become uncomfortable when they cannot control your destiny. They become frustrated when your spirit refuses to collapse. Every time they expected you to fail, God gave you another ounce of strength. Every time they believed you would remain stuck, heaven opened another hidden opportunity. They wanted you trapped in discouragement, because discouraged people stop pursuing purpose. Discouraged people stop believing in miracles. Discouraged people settle for less than God promised them. But your spirit carried a divine resistance that could not be destroyed. Jay tried to create emotional fog around your mind. They wanted you second, guessing yourself constantly. They hoped confusion would disconnect you from God's direction. Sometimes the enemy does not attack through obvious destruction. Sometimes the attack comes through distraction, emotional manipulation, false guilt, and subtle discouragement. That is why your discernment became stronger in this season. God allowed you to see beyond appearances. You began noticing patterns. You began sensing hidden motives. You started realizing that certain conversations left your spirit drained instead of uplifted. Heaven was opening your eyes because your breakthrough required separation from toxic influence. Chosen one, there are people who secretly panic when they see you healing. They preferred the broken version of you because broken people are easier to control. But once God started restoring your confidence, restoring your peace, and restoring your vision, everything changed. Jay could feel your spirit awakening. They noticed your energy shifting. They realized you were no longer begging for validation. You stopped chasing approval. You stopped shrinking yourself to make others comfortable. And that terrified them because your breakthrough was getting closer. The reason the attacks intensified is because something major is attached to your next season. The enemy does not waste energy fighting people with no purpose. Spiritual warfare increases when destiny is near. That is why things became strangely difficult right before your elevation. Doors closed unexpectedly. Relationships shifted suddenly. Delays appeared in places where progress should have happened naturally. But heaven wants you to understand something clearly. The delay was temporary, not permanent. Jay thought they were slowing down your destiny, but in reality God was exposing everyone who could not go where you are going. Sometimes delay becomes divine protection. If God had released certain blessings too early, hidden enemies would have contaminated what heaven intended for your future. So while you felt frustrated waiting, God was actually preserving you. He was protecting your peace, your purpose, your mind, and your spiritual authority. Chosen one, the reason you survived what should have destroyed you is because your life carries divine assignment. Ordinary people do not endure the level of warfare you endured. There is a reason you kept feeling spiritually attacked, even when you tried to mind your own business. There is a reason people projected negativity onto you without explanation. Your presence carries light, and darkness always reacts to light. Jay reacted to the anointing over your life before you even understood it yourself. They studied your weaknesses, hoping to exploit them. They watched your emotional seasons carefully. They attempted to use your compassion against you, because kind-hearted chosen ones often struggle with setting boundaries. But eventually God taught you that protecting your peace is not selfish. Walking away from manipulation is not cruelty. Distancing yourself from toxic energy is not hatred. It is wisdom. Chosen one. There were moments when Jay acted supportive publicly, while secretly competing with you spiritually. Some people clap for you outwardly, while internally hoping you never surpass them. They become uncomfortable when your growth exposes their stagnation. Your breakthrough became a mirror, reflecting everything they refused to heal within themselves. Instead of becoming inspired by your resilience, they became resentful. Instead of celebrating your elevation, they tried delaying it. But heaven has been documenting everything in silence. Every tear you cried in private was seen by God. Every betrayal you survived was recorded. Every prayer, whispered at midnight, reached heaven directly. Jay may have thought nobody noticed their hidden intentions, but God sees motives humans cannot see. And now the season is changing. What was delayed is about to move suddenly. What felt blocked is about to open unexpectedly. What looked impossible is about to shift in your favor. Chosen one, this is why your spirit has felt restless recently. Deep inside, you can sense movement happening. Even if your physical eyes cannot fully see it yet, your soul recognizes the transition. God is pulling you out of survival mode and preparing you for overflow. The season of constantly fighting for crumbs is ending. The season of begging people to value you is ending. The season of doubting your purpose is ending. Jay never expected you to recover this strongly. They thought the emotional damage would permanently weaken your confidence. They believed disappointment would make you bitter. They assumed isolation would break your spirit. But instead of becoming weaker, you became wiser. Instead of becoming hateful, you became discerning. Instead of losing faith, you developed spiritual authority. Now your energy is different. You no longer fear walking alone because God showed you that solitude can become sacred preparation. You no longer panic when certain people leave your life, because heaven revealed that not everyone is assigned to your next chapter. Some people were only temporary lessons. Some were spiritual tests disguised as relationships. Some were sent to reveal how powerful your discernment would eventually become. Chosen one, Jay kept trying to interrupt your momentum because they sensed favor following you. Favor irritates insecure people because it cannot be manipulated or purchased. Divine favor opens doors logic cannot explain. It places you in rooms your qualifications alone could never access. It causes blessings to locate you unexpectedly. And when someone operating from jealousy witnesses favor over your life, they often try to create resistance around you. But resistance only strengthened you. Every attack forced you closer to God. Every betrayal increased your discernment. Every disappointment deepened your spiritual maturity. The enemy accidentally trained you for your next level. What was meant to weaken you actually prepared you. What was supposed to distract you ended up sharpening your focus. Chosen one, your breakthrough was never cancelled. It was simply delayed long enough for God to build the version of you capable of sustaining it. Because the blessing coming into your life requires wisdom, discipline, discernment, and spiritual strength. The old version of you might have mishandled it emotionally, but now you see differently. Now you move differently. Now you recognize energy before words even expose intentions. And this is what truly troubles Jay now. They can feel your detachment. They notice you are no longer emotionally accessible in the same way. Their confusion tactics no longer work on you. Their silence no longer controls your emotions. Their inconsistency no longer shakes your worth. You finally realized your value was never dependent on human validation. God validated you before people ever understood you. Chosen one, there is a reason certain opportunities are about to arrive unexpectedly. Heaven is restoring lost time. Some blessings will enter your life rapidly because God knows how much warfare you survived to reach this moment. The delay created pressure, but pressure also created strength. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Spiritual authority is developed through endurance. You were being prepared for visibility. The same people who overlooked you will soon witness your elevation. The same individuals who doubted your future will become shocked by how quickly your life transforms. God is about to make your breakthrough undeniable, not for ego, not for revenge, but as confirmation that divine promises still prevail despite opposition. And the powerful part is this, chosen one. Jay cannot stop what heaven already released over your life. Because once God decides the season has changed, no manipulation, no jealousy, no delay tactic, and no hidden agenda can reverse his decision. What heaven speaks over a chosen life will eventually manifest, no matter how long resistance tries to hold it back. And this is the part your spirit needs to hear clearly right now. Chosen one, the breakthrough is closer than it has ever been before. You have spent too much time believing you were behind when in reality you were being aligned. There is a difference between delay and divine positioning. Delay feels frustrating because you cannot fully understand why things are not moving at the speed you expected. But divine positioning means God is rearranging people, opportunities, environments, and spiritual conditions before your blessing fully arrives. Jay mistook your waiting season for weakness. They interpreted your silence as defeat. They thought because things were taking longer, your destiny had somehow lost power. But heaven never lost track of you for a single moment. Chosen one, your prayers were not ignored. God heard every exhausted cry. He heard you when you spoke through tears. He heard you when your voice trembled in uncertainty. He heard you during the nights when you questioned whether your breakthrough would ever come. And while you were praying for immediate change, heaven was preparing permanent transformation. Temporary blessings would never satisfy the assignment attached to your life. God was preparing something deeper, something stable, something aligned with your true purpose. That is why certain relationships had to fall apart. That is why certain plans suddenly collapsed. That is why some opportunities disappeared, even after you became emotionally attached to them. At the time it felt painful. You wondered why God allowed so much instability around you. But now you are beginning to understand that every disconnected relationship revealed hidden truth. Every closed door protected you from future regret. Every disappointment redirected you toward alignment. Jay thought they were ruining your future, when actually they were exposing themselves as someone who could never walk beside you into your next level. Chosen one, some people are only assigned to witness the beginning of your journey, not the fulfillment of it. They cannot accompany you into higher dimensions because their spirit is not compatible with your assignment. The closer you moved toward breakthrough, the more uncomfortable certain individuals became. You started noticing strange energy around your success. People became distant when good things happened for you. Some minimized your victories. Others acted supportive, while secretly hoping things would collapse behind the scenes. And through all of it, God kept opening your eyes little by little. The reason discernment became stronger is because your next season requires clarity. You cannot enter divine elevation carrying emotional blindness. You cannot sustain breakthrough while remaining attached to deceptive energy. God had to teach you how to recognize manipulation before it fully entered your life. That lesson was painful, but necessary, and now you move differently because your spirit has matured through warfare. You no longer confuse attention with loyalty. You no longer mistake emotional intensity for genuine connection. You no longer chase people who repeatedly drain your peace. Jay tried to make you feel abandoned because they understood isolated people often lose confidence in themselves. They hoped loneliness would weaken your connection with God. But isolation became the very place where your spiritual strength increased. In the quiet, God rebuilt your identity. In the silence, He healed your mind. In separation, He taught you how to stand independently without depending on external validation. Chosen one, the enemy always attacks identity before destiny. If someone can confuse your identity, they can delay your movement. That is why Jay consistently tried creating emotional chaos around your life. They wanted you distracted from your assignment. They wanted you emotionally exhausted, so you would stop believing in your future. But even through the confusion, something inside you kept pushing forward. Even during your weakest moments, your soul refused to completely surrender. That was not accidental. That was the hand of God preserving you. You have survived battles people know nothing about. You smiled while carrying emotional heaviness nobody could see. You kept functioning while your spirit quietly fought exhaustion. You encouraged others while secretly trying to heal yourself. And despite everything, you are still here. That alone proves your life is divinely protected. Chosen one. There are people who underestimated your resilience because they only saw your kindness. They assumed your gentle heart meant weakness. But kindness does not mean powerless. Compassion does not mean spiritually blind. One thing God has been teaching you is that chosen ones must balance love with discernment. Not everyone deserves unlimited access to your energy. Not everyone deserves front row access to your purpose. Jay benefited from your empathy for a long time. They relied on your patience. They counted on your willingness to forgive repeatedly. But eventually God revealed the pattern clearly enough that you could no longer ignore it. The emotional inconsistency, the subtle sabotage, the hidden competition, the manipulative silence, the confusing behavior designed to keep you emotionally unstable. Heaven allowed you to see it because your breakthrough could not fully arrive while toxic cycles still had access to your spirit. And now everything is shifting. You can feel it internally. The emotional fog is lifting. The heaviness is breaking. Your intuition is becoming sharper. Your confidence is returning. Your energy is stabilizing. This is what happens right before divine acceleration. Chosen one, many people only talk about blessings, but they rarely discuss the preparation required before blessings arrive. Preparation often feels uncomfortable because God must remove what no longer belongs in your life. Sometimes He removes people you loved deeply. Sometimes He dismantles environments where you became emotionally dependent. Sometimes He allows betrayal to expose hidden motives. None of this happens to destroy you. It happens to refine you. Gold must pass through fire before purification happens. And your spirit has been passing through purification. Jay thought the fire would consume you. Instead, the fire transformed you. Now your mindset is evolving. You are no longer begging people to choose you. You are no longer shrinking your light to avoid making others uncomfortable. You are no longer apologizing for the favor over your life. That insecurity that once controlled you is dying. That fear of rejection is losing power. That emotional dependence is breaking off your spirit. Chosen one, heaven is restoring your authority. The authority to say no without guilt. The authority to protect your peace. The authority to walk away from manipulation. The authority to trust God, even when others misunderstand your journey. And the moment you fully step into that authority, everything changes. Jay can sense the distance growing between who you used to be and who you are becoming. They notice your reactions are different now. The emotional hooks no longer affect you the same way. Their attempts to confuse your mind are failing because your discernment has awakened. You finally recognize that not everyone clapping for you genuinely supports your elevation. Some people only stay close while they believe you are beneath them. But the moment God begins lifting you higher, their hidden resentment surfaces. Chosen one, never feel guilty for outgrowing environments that once limited you. Growth requires movement. Elevation requires separation. And breakthrough requires courage. Sometimes courage means walking away from familiar pain in order to embrace unfamiliar purpose. God has been preparing you to leave behind emotional cycles that kept delaying your destiny. That is why your spirit feels less attached to certain people now. You are evolving. Your soul is no longer comfortable entertaining confusion. Your energy no longer tolerates dishonesty. Your spirit no longer finds peace in emotionally draining environments. This transformation was necessary, because where God is taking you, emotional clarity will matter more than emotional attachment. Chosen one, your breakthrough carries responsibility. The blessing coming toward you is larger than personal comfort. It is connected to impact, influence, purpose, and spiritual assignment. That is why the warfare around your life became so intense. The enemy attacks what threatens darkness. Your healing threatens darkness. Your confidence threatens darkness. Your obedience threatens darkness. Your breakthrough threatens every force that hoped you would remain stuck forever. But heaven already decided your story will not end in defeat. And that truth is beginning to manifest physically now. Watch how suddenly things begin moving. Watch how opportunities appear unexpectedly. Watch how clarity replaces confusion. Watch how doors open without forced effort. Watch how your energy starts attracting healthier environments. This next season will feel different because you are no longer operating from desperation. Desperate energy attracts manipulation, but healed energy attracts alignment. God has been healing your inner world so your external reality can finally shift properly. Chosen one of the hardest lessons you had to learn was understanding that not everyone who enters your life is sent by God. Some people arrive as distractions. Some arrive as lessons. Some arrive to test your discernment. Jay entered your life carrying hidden motives that only became visible over time. At first, you gave them the benefit of the doubt because your heart naturally seeks goodness in others. But eventually patterns reveal truth louder than words ever can. And once God exposes a pattern repeatedly, ignoring it becomes dangerous. That exposure was not punishment. It was protection. Because your future is too valuable to remain connected to people committed to delaying your growth. Chosen one, you are entering a season where peace will become your priority instead of chaos. You spent too much time normalizing emotional instability. You spent too much energy trying to fix situations God was asking you to release. But now your spirit understands something important. Not every battle is yours to fight. Some battles belong to God alone. You do not need to force revenge. You do not need to prove your worth. You do not need to convince people to value you. Your assignment is simply to remain aligned with heaven while God handles everything else. And while Jay was busy trying to slow you down, God was quietly building a table in front of your enemies. Not a table of arrogance, not a table of ego, but a table of confirmation. Confirmation that God still keeps promises. Confirmation that chosen ones still rise after warfare. Confirmation that no amount of sabotage can permanently stop divine timing. Chosen one, this is why your spirit keeps feeling emotional shifts lately. Part of you is grieving the old season, while another part senses new beginnings approaching rapidly. Transition seasons always feel strange, because your soul exists between what is ending and what is beginning. But trust what God is doing even if you cannot fully explain it yet. The confusion is ending. The stagnation is breaking. The emotional heaviness is lifting. Your breakthrough is no longer distant. It is approaching with speed. And the people who secretly doubted you will soon witness something they never expected to see. The version of you that emerges after surviving all this warfare will carry wisdom, confidence, discernment, peace, and spiritual authority that cannot be shaken easily anymore. Chosen one, after everything you endured, you are finally stepping into the season where your spirit no longer apologizes for evolving. Too much pain shaped your wisdom for you to keep shrinking yourself for people who never truly celebrated your growth. God did not preserve you through every attack, just for you to remain trapped in fear, confusion, or emotional captivity. He preserved you because your destiny still has purpose attached to it. Every delay, every betrayal, every lonely night carried a lesson that strengthened your spirit for the road ahead. Jay thought your silence meant weakness, but heaven was rebuilding you in private. While they assumed you were falling apart, God was restoring your confidence piece by piece. While they celebrated temporary delays, heaven was preparing permanent elevation. This is why your energy feels different now. You are no longer chasing what continuously runs from you. You are no longer begging for clarity from people committed to confusion. You are no longer trying to force connections that drain your peace. Something inside you finally understands that what God has for you will never require you to abandon yourself to receive it. Chosen one, your breakthrough was delayed because your spirit needed strengthening before the blessing arrived. Some doors require maturity before access is granted. God had to teach you discernment before influence. He had to teach you emotional discipline before expansion. He had to teach you self-worth before elevation. Because if the blessing had arrived too early, unresolved wounds could have destroyed what heaven intended to build through you. But now you are different. You see manipulation faster. You trust your intuition more. You protect your peace more carefully. You understand your value more deeply. And because of that transformation, the enemy is losing access to your life. Jay can no longer control your emotions the way they once did. Their silence no longer shakes your confidence. Their inconsistency no longer determines your mood. Their hidden resentment no longer blinds your discernment. God removed the veil from your eyes, and once spiritual clarity arrives, you can never fully return to emotional blindness again. Chosen one, this next season will reveal why everything had to happen the way it did. One day you will look back and realize the delays protected you from counterfeit opportunities, counterfeit relationships, and counterfeit environments. You will understand why certain doors refused to open when you begged God for access. You will realize heaven was never rejecting you. Heaven was redirecting you. And now the redirection is leading you toward alignment, toward peace, toward purpose, toward overflow. The pain did not destroy you. The warfare did not finish you. The delays did not cancel your destiny. Instead, everything pushed you closer to the version of yourself God always intended you to become. So walk forward now with confidence, chosen one. Stop questioning whether you are worthy of the blessing. Stop doubting whether your breakthrough is truly coming. Stop allowing old disappointments to speak louder than God's promises. The season of emotional captivity is ending. The season of divine restoration is beginning, and the same God who carried you through every hidden battle is about to reveal publicly that your life was never abandoned, never forgotten, and never defeated.